Hi, and welcome back to Amagi in View. I'm joined by my friend Scott Cunningham, who I've known for years now, man. It's good to see you. Each other, and you've been working for Amagi now, and we worked together in the past, and I still don't get to see you or interact with you as much as I like, so I'm just really happy to have you here at the show, man, and to get to spend some time with you.
Yep.
So, since I'm hosting things, you know, this segment is called Streaming for VSPs. Now, the first thing I want to ask you is, what is a VSP?
It's a good question. Not an industry standard term by any means, but at Amagi we're used to calling video service providers platforms. And we found it's very confusing when you're having conversations about streaming providers and platforms that they are available on. For example, a platform might be the Roku platform, iOS, Android TV, Fire TV, and so that's what we think of as platforms.
That's pretty broad.
Exactly, and smart TVs as well,
Sure.
not forgetting those platforms as well. So when we're talking about VSPs, we really mean what products, what services can we offer to the streaming providers themselves.
Okay, that's excellent. So what new things, products, and offering are we bringing to VSPs? Because I'm a little ignorant in that space. Typically I deal with cloud port, with channel origination, and now with live broadcast production, so I don't get to spend as much of my time on this side of the table of the company, and I'm really interested in what we're doing that's new, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're predominantly focused on doing fast channel origination and play out in the streaming TV space, but when we're looking at what can we do for the video service providers, we first started to think about what problems are they all trying to solve? What are the industry problems that we as Amagi can use our expertise, use our knowledge to step in and really help? And so the first one, and the one that's been talked about for many, many months now, is around content discovery and decision fatigue. There are recent studies that show that it now takes a viewer, if they don't know what they want to watch, over 10 minutes to find something in the streaming service.
I can vouch for that.
Exactly.
I'm notorious just constantly looking through the content without ever actually choosing the content code.
Exactly, and a different study actually shows that 1 in 5 people actually decide to turn off the TV and do something else because they're so fatigued, and it's not because there's a lack of choice. There's more content available now online to stream than ever before.
Is it almost like analysis paralysis? There's too much choice potentially?
It's too much choice. And so that's a real problem that we're seeing in the industry, and that's really where we wanted to focus our attention in one of these new products that we're going to bring to market.
Well, can we dive in? I'd love to see.
Yeah, so I'd love to show you an architecture. So video service providers, they get content, whether that's channels, whether that's VOD, live events, all from a plethora of different sources. And so what we wanted to do is offer the capability to ingest all of that metadata into a single place and to normalize it. And step one, after we normalize it, is make it available for the content curators or merchandising teams so that they can create those experiences on their platform. Again, I've used the word platform. And so what I mean by that is on the homepage of the app, they may want to promote some action movies or horror movies. You can do that. But going down to the next level of this, because we're ingesting all of the metadata, we're then available to then enrich the metadata itself.
Okay.
So sometimes content providers don't provide the mandatory artwork or genre or synopsis for content. Right. So the first level of enrichment is we can then enrich that in this ecosystem. The next level of that, which is where the content discovery really comes in, is we can enrich it further to add keywords and other information to movies, to programs, so that the content curation team or merchandising team can get even more creative, and they're not just creating genres rails. They can create apocalypse movie rails, as an example.
Wow.
Reality TV show rails where there's fights, things like that.
So if I specifically want a playlist full of 90 Day Fiance, this is really going to help me do that.
Exactly.
Okay, very good.
So that's really where the enrichment piece comes in. And then we have the ability to add content recommendations. So normally when you're going through that curation process, it can take anywhere between several minutes to hours to even days to create
Really?
content rails that
Okay.
you want to put in front of your customers and viewers. With recommendations engine, we can take viewership data, and based on what you've been watching, we can make sure your experience is personalized to you and to the type of content that you like to watch,
Right.
as opposed to the one-size-fits-all approach where it's now taking you 10, 12 minutes to find the shows you want.
That would be intensely helpful for a person like me, I can promise you that.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
the last level of this I want to talk about is we've actually made this available with APIs.
Okay.
And we wanted to showcase the capabilities here by partnering with an app provider to demonstrate how we can personalize and the type of content that we as Amagi can also support for the streaming services.
You mean sort of like the app that people were able to watch this on right now?
Yeah,
Fantastic.
exactly.
Yeah.
So if I just shift over to that. So this is just a demo instance of the app that we've created for the show, and this is with Applicaster.
Yep.
And what we're doing is when I load the app, those real-time APIs are coming back based on my preferences. And so I'll just show you here. Again, we can use viewership data if the streaming service provider wants to give that to us. Or when I connect to an app, I can say, oh, here are my preferences.
Right.
So for the sake of this demo, I like comedy movies, so I selected comedy. What you can see now, if I go back to my home screen, as I flip through, these are all movies that fit that profile, and you can see if I click on one, down here, this fits my what I've said I wanted to watch. And we can take that even further. So not just creating personalized hero carousels, we can do personalized content rails, not just on one or two things that I might like to watch, but maybe many different types of shows that I've said I like to watch. So
Right.
it really reduces the time to get that content in front of the viewer so they can make that decision quicker.
This term content rails, that's something I had never actually heard before this conversation, live as we're having it.
Content rails, again, not really an industry term, but it's also called swim lanes. So anywhere where the content shows up like this in a carousel.
You call that the rail, the carousel, and that's so it's specifically just targeting all of that for you at time.
Exactly.
Wow.
So what you can do is rather than showing all of the content, all the action movies I have, maybe there's 5 or 6 that have higher IMDb ratings that I may be more inclined to watch. So maybe you put them in a special swim lane or content rail that I might click on.
And we provide all of this data and flexibility and capability back to all of the VSPs now.
We can do that via API, and we're doing it integrated with Aceto today and integrated with Applicaster.
Wow. So as new customers come on and want to utilize this, we can continue to sort of develop this out and apply it to their apps, to their use cases
Exactly.
in the future. Wow, it's pretty adaptable with the API, right?
It's adaptable to the API, it's adaptable to how sophisticated the streaming service is. Like they'll have their own content discovery tooling. Maybe they just want to use this tool set that I mentioned to do the enrichment piece, to add the keywords, and then they will manage the rest of it behind the scenes inside their own ecosystem. And for other streaming services where they don't really have that capability and may not even have a merchandising team, we could plug in that recommendations engine and it's all done automatically for them.
So we can even serve as that recommendations engine for them if they don't have their own.
Exactly.
Wow.
And so the other thing I want to show here is we also support live events in this app. So in the fast world, it's not really commonplace to support that type of content. So movies and linear fast channels are what you'd normally see on a platform. The fact that we now have the ability and that API to offer single live events, so that any fast streaming service provider that wants that type of content on their platform, we can then make it available. Going another level here back to the EPG.
But wait, there's more?
There's more. So back on the EPG itself, that personalized hero carousel I mentioned based on my preferences, we can do that anywhere in the app. And so what we can do in the EPG, which if you've seen a fast platform, which I'm sure you have, they may have 300 channels.
Sure.
And trying to go through the channel list to find something you want to watch, it's extremely difficult and cumbersome. So guess what? When we specify those preferences or use that viewership history, we're going to put channels you're mostly inclined to watch at the top.
I could name multiple services that I use today that I would love it if they had that level of capability.
Exactly. And what we can also do for some VSPs may want to promote certain channels regardless of what I want to watch. Maybe there's 3 or 5 channels they want to promote. We can do that as well. So we can override that decision to say, actually, I want the Amagi in View channel to be at the top of my EPG.
Which we definitely did, because that's what we're live on right now.
Exactly. And that's really it for the app experience. So this is, again, we're supposed to be addressing the challenge of content discovery and decision fatigue.
Yeah.
So how can we get the content you're more likely to watch in front of you quicker? And so we can do that with these flexible tools.
I had no idea that it was to the extent that you just described. This is absolutely impressive to me. I really hope that this starts to improve my home viewership in the future, because like I said, I'm the kind of person who will sit there for hours and just find the thing and then never find it before I fall asleep.
Exactly.
So if this is going to help actually get me the content to my eyeballs better that I do want to watch, that's, that's going to put proper impressions then on those channels, and they're going to begin earning better revenue potential on that as well, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so the next thing I want to show is it's around viewer engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So getting the content that you want to watch in front of you is really the first challenge.
Right.
When you're in the channel, how do I keep you there? How do I keep you there for longer and make sure the experience that you're having in that channel is the best it can be?
You're trying to make it sticky.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want you to watch my channel for longer. I want you to be on my streaming service for longer. There are studies today that show the US adult, the average time they consume of TV a day is almost 3 hours. Mm-hmm. But our insights show that on a streaming service, typical viewing time is between 5 and 30 minutes. So we want to increase that. We want to make sure that there are more eyeballs coming to Fast and are staying on Fast.
So we're getting this data, we're trying to make, decisions to help move the industry in these directions. Does this data sort of point to the fact that 5 and 30 minutes is maybe because of the challenges of finding something to lock onto and stay with?
It can be finding something to stay, like you say, by the time I found something, maybe I'm too fatigued to
exhausted.
watch.
Yeah.
Exactly, I'm exhausted. Maybe when I tune to something, I'm seeing ads and slate. That's kind of what I want to talk about next. So,
yeah, we have talked about Zero Slate and a couple of these other interviews, and this is some fascinating stuff. Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're in the kind of the digital native domain with Fast. We can really, disconnect ourselves from what normal TV or typical TV consumption looks like. Mm-hmm. We don't need to give everyone the same piece of content at the same time and the same ad break length. We can be more flexible and adaptable based on their needs and based on the technology we're using.
Right.
And so I know you've seen the Zero Slate demo
a couple of times now, but it still impresses me every time I see it.
And so and I want to talk about this demo more from the viewer engagement side of things. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you've heard that anywhere up to 10% of viewers, according to our insights, will churn or leave the channel when they see Slate.
No kidding. Say that number again?
10%.
10%, that's a big part of an audience.
Exactly, right?
Wow.
And so what we can do is if we're underfilling ad breaks, and what this page shows is 4 different viewers with 4 different fill rates. Mm-hmm. So Addy over here is not getting any ads. You can see here we're synchronized going into the next channel, and what just happened is these guys were not all synced up because they were seeing different ads, and at the end of the program, we're able to synchronize them back up by playing some promos and getting everyone back in line with the EPG.
Back in perfect alignment when you go into the next
program.
The next program segment.
And that's optional too, right? Because it all depends on the type of experience you want for your viewers. If you don't mind that they keep drifting and it means they're still watching your channel, mm-hmm. then maybe they don't want to set rules to say line everyone up with the EPG at the end of the program. Maybe they just want to say keep that experience going so they watch my channel for longer. So it's really a decision that the channel provider or the streaming service need to make.
Yeah, definitely. That's so cool, Scott.
One more thing I'd like to show.
Please.
So that's the Zero Slate technology. What I want to show now is another feature of this technology, but it's used for a different purpose. So again, let's say I'm looking through the EPG, I find something I want to watch, it's a movie I haven't seen in a while, but I'm joining in the middle of the movie.
Yes.
Now, do I go and find that VOD asset, or do I just suffer through it? No, you don't. Now, what we can do using the same technology is shift that viewer in a linear stream to the start of the
This is
program
my favorite part.
or start of the movie.
Yes.
And the good thing about this is it keeps their experience linear.
Yes.
What Amagi is also doing and allowing our customers to do is go to the VOD asset. And you may want to do that in like a TV show sort of thing. Maybe I've joined friends in the middle of an episode and maybe I want to go and binge it. Or maybe you, as the streaming service, want to try and promote that binge watching. So you can take them to the VOD asset if you want using Amagi today, or you can keep the experience linear. And one of the other things that we can do is not just start that program over, we can skip to the next. So let's say, you know what, I've seen Tears of Steel for 5 years in a row at the trade show.
Yep.
Maybe I want to go to the next program in the list. And we can go even more granular than this. So imagine if you are a channel that has music videos and you have 90s rock program for 30 minutes, but you don't like what's on, you want to skip just that video.
Yeah.
We can do that as well. So we don't need to stick to the EPG, we can actually go deeper than that.
So not only does Zero Slate make fast feel more like traditional linear, it also lets me jump into the linear stream whenever I choose and choose the decision of whether or not I want to start at the beginning of a program, jump in between. This is absolutely incredible. This is what I've wanted TV to feel like digitally for years.
Exactly.
Wow. That's so cool. And you know, my daughter is 14, okay? She's never been excited for a broadcast start time in her life. She was born too late for that. I grew up in that era. Her era doesn't know that. She's on her phone to watch all content. This is exactly the way we sort of bring her and her generation back into that sort of viewing mode, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so great. Scott, we're way over time, but I wanted to keep sharing this. This is such fascinating stuff.
Thank you.
Great to talk to you, man. Thank you all for watching, and we'll talk again soon.